Welcome to the Voice of the Vikings podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Carino, joined by
Sean Sampler,
Tim Desmond,
Joseph Byrne,
Ryan Connors,
Austin Shulkin,
Adam Conklin,
Pharrell Elad, and it is called the HUD Pod.
It's not called the HUD Pod. It's not.
Tell us about your cookie business.
Well, again, for the viewers, I'm Adam Conklin, and in high school, I had my own cookie business, which, admittedly, I wouldn't say it was shady. I would say it lacked a lot of the principles that a normal business should have, but I feel as if that could be excused since I was in high school. The name was Massive Morsels. I love that name. And
It's a solid business name, yeah.
thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
And every Friday, I would bring in cookies that I would bake myself, and I would sell them throughout the school. And the reason that I was able to sell them throughout the school was because I partnered with the PTA. So if there was ever any legal thing, if someone got sick from it, it wouldn't be on me, it would actually be on the PTA. Granted, I gave them a small percentage of the proceeds from every batch.
That is so wholesome.
that sounds illegal.
What did the revenue stream look like?
I don't know if I want to start disclosing that. A lot of people wanted to tear my business down.
But they failed.
Hey,
Plan on your downfall.
And it was called Massive Morsels for a very specific reason, because every cookie that I would bake, I would put a little piece of chocolate right in the middle, and that actually was the Massive Morsels.
So, what was your motive behind doing all this?
It was actually back when I was 14, and I read a post on Instagram. And it was a guy called Dan the Panini
Man.
He sold paninis out of his school, and then the school said, "You can't sell sandwiches.
Literally
That's
just
against."
Googled the post like before you mentioned
Yeah,
it.
and they said you can't sell foods. And they thought I will sell paper towels with a free panini. So he was Dan the Paper Towel Man, and I thought I'm stealing that. So I sold napkins with a free cookie.
Wow, good for you.
Thanks.
Seems
That's
like
awesome.
it went well to some degree. So, what are you engaged with on campus?
I write for the Hudsonian. I'm a senator in Student Senate, and I'm in the Entrepreneurs Club as well.
Very well.
That's Dane Weedman.
Wow.
Oh my
Big
god.
D! It's him!
That's the Weed Man. No, I went to high school with him. Dane Weedman is awesome.
He's shooting for level 500 and Sean can
Top 500 in,
Top 500.
in Brawl Stars. He's been playing Brawl Stars every day for 5.5 years. He's a machine. He has his YouTube channel daily uploads.
He's got a Hudson Valley Mushrooms Instagram
deserves
account
more
where he takes
attention,
pictures
dude.
of mushrooms and just posts them. I've had the honor of knowing Dane Weedman since middle school, and I can tell you he has not changed in the slightest since
Good.
then.
What does he do on campus?
Everything.
What doesn't he do?
What doesn't he do?
Honors College Advocate Ambassador. He was just repping the Honors College sweatshirt.
His YouTube is called The Great Dane.
Repping it.
He has 744 videos and 680 subscribers, and he's almost top 500 in Brawl Stars. The grind is unreal.
That guy's a legend.
Oh my god, guys, look, Amira just walked in the door.
Amira!
With some sort
Our
of
fellow
pink
podcast
concoction.
members.
Our president of
Wow.
Hudson Valley.
Hey everybody.
Bonjour, comment allez-vous?
What is
What
with you
he
in
said.
French today?
It's me in French every day.
Hey, I can speak multiple language, but not that one.
What languages can you speak?
I speak Urdu, English clearly, and then if you can speak Urdu, anybody can speak Hindi and Punjabi, and then I can also read and write in Arabic. I can understand a little bit of that, and then Japanese.
That is
How
really
much
impressive.
Japanese do you
How
know?
much Japanese?
I would say like 40%. I can understand it when my family is speaking it because they can speak it fluently. I just know like the basic good morning, good night, the counting.
Parents live in Japan.
That's really cool.
Can we get a sample
Wow.
of the Japanese?
Say Can you say stupid in Japanese?
No.
Baka. So Adam, I've heard through the grapevine that you were involved in the Boy Scouts program. I would love if you could expound on that.
I feel like I'm in the hot seat. Yeah, I was a Boy Scout.
Sean, you as well, no?
No.
No?
I was a Boy
You
Scout.
were a
That's
Boy
right.
Scout. Someone was telling me.
Rotary Scout Reservation Cope Program.
That's true.
David Durmaster.
That's
Rango.
What was your biggest challenge in Boy Scouts?
Biggest challenge? It was when I was the senior patrol leader of my group, so I was in charge of all the other little kids.
The wee lads.
How
Yes.
how little?
For my troop, it was 10 to 15 that I was looking after.
I was in Girl Scouts actually.
Oh, really? How many
Yeah.
years?
I was in Girl Scouts from I think from when I was maybe 6 or 7 to almost 10. Not that long.
Okay,
It was a
okay.
few years. I remember the first time I had to sell cookies, and we had to go and knock on my neighbor's house doors, and it was always just so funny because I'd always be like, "Hi, my name's Kaylee. Do you guys want some Girl Scout cookies?" There's a lot of dance parties. There wasn't really much learning compared to Boy Scouts.
A big difference between Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts is the Girl Scouts sell cookies and the Boy Scouts,
Actually do stuff?
Yeah.
What'd you do for your service project before you graduated?
there is a beach in Stillwater and there is a message center board that was all rotten and destroyed, and it was actually a commemoration for someone who had passed that was on the board for Saratoga Lake. So I thought that I'll rebuild it, and I built a flower box around it too and planted flowers. And
Do you think that experience kind of carried over to the role you now play in Senate?
I think so. I build a lot less flower boxes in Senate, but
So, Austin, I heard you're an home-educated individual. Your parents have instilled tenets and core values of independence, entrepreneurship, and dedication. At 18 years old, this man has 2 businesses, a full-time student, and senior class president of the Senate, and is a firefighter. We would love if you could just educate the rest of the room and all of our listeners, how you came to be who you are, how you came to value entrepreneurship and independence as much as you do.
Oh yeah, thank you for the question, Sean. Growing up, my mother took the role right away of being the main education teacher in the family. She's a stay-at-home mom, and my dad obviously was the income side of things. So my parents always try to divide things though, with teaching and stuff. So my mom always put her time and energy toward teaching us academics and stuff, me along with my 3 siblings. 2 of them previously came to Hudson Valley here and loved the experience. My father really turned to entrepreneurship. He had run 2 of his own companies from the ground up, and I think it's really interesting because I feel like as soon as you meet someone, you can kind of tell how they were raised, and my parents instilled in me very young that you're a direct representation of us, and so kind of to always act professional, always do the right thing and stuff, because ultimately it leads back to them. So, my father instilled in us at a very young age, sales, confidence and stuff like that. And then we were able, my brother and I, along with our other 2 siblings, we were able to launch our 2 companies. And just the experiences you learn from that. The more human interaction you have, the more, you learn how people act, you learn, how to influence people. And I think that's an important skill for anyone to learn. Kind of just sales as a whole. I think anyone who can sell anything can do most things, because either you're selling yourself in a friendship or you're selling yourself to other people. Regardless of what field you're in, you'll always need to sell to people. So I think it's a very important skill for everyone to learn, and I really appreciate my father for instilling this at a young age, and really in all my siblings. And thank you for the question, Sean.
Very wise words. I feel like that was articulated very well.
So, Ryan, I've heard through the grapevine that you're a bench press machine, that you coach boys volleyball, and you are a freelance graphic design worker. Would you like to expound on the lessons that these experiences have taught you?
Which one? There's a lot of experiences. They've all taught me so many different things.
You pick, baby.
School podcast, Sean. Dirty dog.
No, we're gonna cut that out.
That may have been the best interaction, honestly. I don't know if we should cut that out.
Alright, so, Sean listed an awful lot of things. I do coach, I do graphic design. I'm really into, sports and just, being athletic in general. Mostly towards, physical health. I'm not, sports oriented. I actually don't watch sports. Fun fact. Don't watch sports.
Same.
Don't watch football, basketball, soccer, volleyball. played them, never watched them. I just can't get myself to do it. You know, I'd rather watch like Austin talk on a podcast. I'd rather learn when I watch stuff, you know, or watch like anime because like
Something that's worth benefiting.
yeah, like anime. Anyway, so like I have a lot of hobbies that are very diverse, and I think what comes into that is like when you talk about skill stacking, and it comes into learning soft skills through different avenues. Like when it comes to the physical stuff, when it comes to coaching and working out, you learn two things, which comes down to discipline and leadership. And I think those have brought me far into the educational community, especially when it comes to things like Senate and, you know, like leading clubs and helping out and showing my assistance there. And then when it comes to graphic design, the art community is like a whole different thing. And when you really focus on creativity, you see how you can really disperse it into all areas of your life. Because, you know, creativity is not just in art. Creativity is in business. It's in coaching. It's in leadership. And, you know, it really touches on everything. So the more you involve yourself in, that's what I try to do. I try to, you know, kind of dip my hand in every bucket around. Just like Sean here. You know, he's really like who I look up to, you know, has his hand in every bucket in the school, you know, giving his effort where he can. So I think that's very important for a person. So Sean, like speaking up, can you tell us about your journey in Senate and how you came to the school last year, you know, not knowing anyone. And now you were just the absolute powerhouse of the school.
Yeah, how does that happen?
Like ties everywhere. Like you walk around campus, everyone's like, Sean Sampler! What's up, brother? And like, can you just talk about your journey, you know, especially like when you first came in, like what it was like, you know, how you really like focused on outreach and just taking leadership?
Well, I really appreciate the introduction and question, Ryan. So I went to a local prep school, Albany Academy for boys, K through 12. And before that, I was in England for my first 5 years of life. But Albany Academy was a real experience for me.
So you're British.
I am British. It taught me so much. It broke me down and didn't quite build me back up yet, to be honest with you.
I was going to do that.
And, you know, a lot of my family were engineers. I wasn't quite sure what to do with my life yet. I just had a vague understanding of like, oh, okay, maybe business, maybe engineering. And so I shipped myself off to Cleveland, Ohio, you know, where all the cool kids go, to Case Western Reserve University. And half a semester there, I hated it. I had to go back home. And that's when I started Hudson Valley. And to be honest with you, you know, I was kind of quiet from COVID, you know, kind of recovering from like that isolation and also like that really bad college experience at Case Western. I really thought of Hudson Valley as like a temporary thing. I obviously didn't plan for any of this. And my first semester was, you know, like me internally kind of building up back that confidence. You know, I kind of kept to myself. I didn't really make any friends, talk to anyone. But after that first semester, I had, you know, I think boredom can be good for the soul. I think if enough months pass of you doing nothing, your body, your mind knows exactly what it's missing, and it will take action like without your conscious mind at times to like get what it needs to survive. And for me, that was social interaction, social outreach, and leadership. I saw a flyer for the investment club. I walked in, and, you know, I was pretty awkward, right? So I hadn't really spoken to many people in like a year and a half. You know, it was not great, but I forced myself to keep on going. 6 weeks in, made some friends, heard about Senate. I began tutoring in the LAC for math. Then I began tutoring in the Writing Center. Then I heard, you know, of the students who were now becoming my friends talk more and more about student government and student senate, and I became really intrigued about that. And I interviewed to be the treasurer, but our Madam President here beat me disgracefully, and I was instead appointed as senior class president. But that was a nice experience, and I mean, since then, I have just doubled down, quadrupled down, octupled down in all forms of leadership, and I've discovered what I enjoy the most is surprising those around me when I have no expectations laid out. The extreme diversity and variety in experiences and people, just burdening myself with constant barriers and growing enough and making the connections and getting the help enough to break through those barriers, I think it's become like a serial addiction, honestly. I mean, I constantly add new things and challenge myself to break through them, and I don't get it every time, but that's when you learn the most.
I think it's just very inspiring.
That is really inspiring. So I did not expect it to go there, but I loved like every second.
I appreciate that.
I mean, I feel like genuinely ever since I've met you from Investment Club, which was also what started my path of some sort of leadership, not full leadership like you, but the beginning of leadership. And I feel like when you see someone that puts all their effort into something that they're very passionate about, it is like diffused and everyone else can get like a whiff of it. And like that's how I feel like when you just put yourself in those situations. So thank you, Sean.
I really appreciate that, Kaylee.
I really resonate with your story, Sean, honestly, because I felt the same way when I first came to Hudson Valley. I thought this is a very much like temporary experience, because this also like was not a part of my plan at all. I won't say which one, but I was supposed to go to another college, and like day of like move-in day, like it was all moved in, they told me my scholarship fell through and I would have to pay $10,000 right then and there. And then like per semester, my tuition per semester would be double what my mom was paying for my sister. My sister goes to an Ivy League school, so she was like, that's not happening, and like anyway at all. So I came here very quiet, didn't really talk to anyone, and I just joined a bunch of clubs, and I started talking to everyone I could.
Yeah.
Which is why I've had such a great time here, and why Chorus Club has been a huge thing for me, because now we're all going to go see Les Mis tomorrow, which is great.
I'm also going to see that.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
See you there, Tim.
Who here genuinely feels like Hudson Valley, in like the short 6 months we've had, I don't know how like a few minutes off, like who here feels like that has actually like changed them? Like,
I definitely do.
Yeah,
100%.
Hudson Valley changed my life.
100%. I came in like out of high school. I wasn't in any clubs actually. I was joining like Key Club, but I didn't really do anything. You know, senior year, like senioritis, whatever. You slack off, and then over summer, it's like you don't really. I worked on I did like business stuff. You know, I still tried to stay disciplined, but I felt like in a sense I was like losing myself. When it comes to the goals that I want to attain in the next like 5 to 6 years. You know, I wasn't like working as hard as I should have been to reach those goals. I was only focusing on the present when I should have been focusing more on the future. And I know people are always like focused on the present, but it's like, you know, you do want to work yourself towards something in the future. So I was like, day before school started, I was like, what am I doing? Right? I was like,
Wow.
It's not, you know, Hudson Valley is not a skipping stone. As much as people want it to be, and they come to class, they put their head down, they do their work, and they go home, and they, you know, they don't make the best of it here. It's not a skipping stone, and it's something that actually can make a huge change to people. And I would actually recommend it over going to a university and
I
like
agree.
taking a huge change in your life when you're not ready for it. Because I wasn't ready for it.
That's beautiful, Ryan. Thank you.
It's really beautiful that we all can like come here and like talk about how this really like changed our lives for the better, and how like great this was, how like differently it affects everyone. But like every time I hear anything about Hudson Valley, all anyone says it's a great place, it's a great school. Like before I was even here, all anyone said it's an amazing place. 10 out of 10.
So I feel like when I was in my senior year of high school, I mean, I knew I wanted to go to college because my parents, they never like forced college to be a thing. But to me, it was kind of just like, I felt like it was necessary for myself because I have like a bunch of backups that I felt like would be kind of not that primary source. It'd be like afterwards. So I guess I decided to go to community college, and I was kind of insecure about it, honestly, because a lot of my friends, they were going to universities, and you know, like those high school senior pages of like where you're going to college and like wear your t-shirt of like where you're going to college, and I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And to me, I felt like, oh wow, like this sucks. But I remember the first day of going to campus, and I literally got to the parking lot an hour early, and I was just so nervous.
I had a very similar experience. The first day of my first semester, I got here, my first class was at like 10. I got here at like 7:30 just to like kind of tour the campus. Unfortunately, I couldn't because it was really foggy and I couldn't see 20 feet in front of me. Like up until my first class started, I literally couldn't see anything. So I was wandering around campus trying to find like the campus center. And I bump into the clock tower because I literally can't see anything.
I feel like with everything that I have put myself into, it's definitely been a journey. And the first year of well, my first year is ending in like 2 months, and I've met a lot of great people, and I feel like I would have not met those people if I chose not to apply myself in areas where I thought I could not really succeed in. And I don't know, you kind of just have to put yourself in places that make you feel uncomfortable for growth to happen. So, yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. Starting this club.
Thank you.
I think it was an amazing first podcast.
Yeah.
I think it was.